So this is the frame that I got from North Carolina. You can see, I mean, for the most part, the only little bit of rust on there is kind of just the surface stuff here. Basically just wipe it off with something like that. It's really just kind of discoloration. But I'd say for the most part, it's just a little dirty. But there really isn't very much rust at all on this. The only places I kind of getting it is like around the where the welds are, a little bit like that. Like it's almost mostly just staining, like it's starting, but it's not really there yet. So for the most part, I say there really ain't much on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sandblast like stuff like this to get this off. And like right here, basically it's going to be more like concentrated around just like where the welds are, where the welds are starting to rust here and stuff like that. I just want to clean it up while I have the chance. I'll see how easy it comes off. I mean, I might just do small spots like where it's rusting here and then kind of scuff it up and sand it there. But like I say, back here is primarily where they rust the most anyway, like right around this cross bracing here. So I just want to say clean this up and repaint this. So this is the media that I'm using. It is fine grit for the 1/8 inch nozzle. And they're just the coal slag. Got it from Tractor Supply. It was $10.99 per bag. It comes out pretty good. That's for what it is. So I'm gonna work on most of this and see how it goes. I'm actually only running this at probably 75 psi because my compressor isn't really big enough to handle too much more than that. So I'm just gonna kind of keep working at that and come back when we're done. Well, I gotta say, I think this was kind of a big job, and I think I didn't enjoy it, to say the least. So I have to say that Sandblaster works pretty good for what it is. It's still the same day, so it worked that well. I don't know how long I've been out here, maybe like 5 hours or something like that. I think I went through, see, I had 4, I think I went through 5 about 5 bags of media to do this, which I did the whole thing basically. I mean, some spots like didn't need to be sandblasted, like right there isn't. Well, like some of the places it's got like that tiger stripe to it. It's because it wasn't rusted or anything, but I just kind of went over it to rough it up for the paint. So yeah, I guess the only thing left now is to get paint into all the little nooks and crannies and hope I can get it in there. Alright, so I think it's about time I get these axles out. What I do, the parking brake cables are bad. They have spots that are all rotted, so I just cut them out so I didn't have to deal with them. I just cut it off there, kind of pulled it out, and I cut that one off down there because, like I said, I got to replace them anyway. So I cut them out, and I'm gonna pull these bolts out of the spring. I got new shackles for it. Comes with 2 new bolts there, and I ordered this bolt here and that nut there. Shackle kit comes with this bushing. I might change it. I probably will. So this here is a 24 millimeter, and it's got a Torx head on the back. Same thing with the front. Is a T60, I believe. You can't get it in there anyway. Oh, there's stuff in there. Yeah, it feels like a T60. So, yeah. So, like I say, it's T60 at 24 here. Basically, it's 24 all over the place. I didn't have another 24 millimeter wrench because they give you bigger standard wrenches, but they don't give you bigger metric wrenches. So you can fit a 15/16 on that nut and on there too. So you get 15/16 on there if you want, but it should be metric because it's got a metric hardness rating on it. 10 point something, 10.9. So they are metric bolts. But anyway, so I'll pull that brake line off and then stop pulling the bolts off. So I forgot to bring an extension out, but I managed to just put the ratchet there right through the hole. It's a flex head. Awesome. This is one that I exploded. Just put some 3/8 plate in there. Welded it in and welded it back together, and it's worked alright so far. I don't go crazy with it just because it's damaged. Oh, It worked. That's hot. Well, that's the end of that press. Bit of a break. Guess it's time to buy a new one. Well, at least one came out so far. I think this one's stuck in the bushing too, because as it's turning a little bit, you can see that thing moving. So this one up here just had a bolt in it, which I may just put in that one there. It's just a bolt. I don't know. We'll see. So that one's out. This one's cut. Should just be able to pull out once I take the weight off it. That one broke and actually came out a bit. So I gotta get the shocks off and figure out what I'm gonna do about this. Because it's a problem. Alright, so I got this bolt out. I did the only other logical thing. I tried to cut this out just to get it down out of the way. It wasn't happening. It's actually still really pretty hot. So that wasn't working. So what I did was I just held this with a pair of pliers and I actually drove the bolt back in. And then I drove it back out. It went probably about a ½ inch farther the second time. I drove it back in and then I drove it out, and then this bottomed out. And then I used that pry bar to knock it out with the pry bar, and there it is. I do know that if I lifted this up off the ground, they'd come out a little bit easier because I wouldn't have the pressure on them, but I didn't feel like bringing the thing over to lift it up, so that's why I did it that way. Before you tell me how stupid I am for doing it the way I was doing it. I know. So anyway, so all I have left is actually to pick the frame up. We'll pull these bolts out here that are just kind of hanging in there. Pull those two out, and then the axle should be free. I can put some blocks or something under it. I'm gonna stop pulling this front axle out. I'm gonna take that track bar off. I had taken it off before, but then my plans had changed to getting a different frame with the axles attached, and that didn't work out, so I do not have the axles. So now I have to take that back off again. So I'm gonna take the track bar off. I'm gonna take the 4 connecting rods, well, not connecting rods, but the 4 control arms to the frame that hold the front in. I'm gonna have to cut these shocks off so I can get the springs out, or so I can drop off, because the shocks are actually holding it inside the springs. I'm gonna cut them. I'm gonna stand inside here, so hopefully they don't go flying. And I'm going to remove the ABS wheel speed sensor wires that connect there, and probably cut the brake lines because I have all new brake lines. So let's get started on this. This guy here is it's 21, it's an 18, I think it's a 21 on the other side, or let's see, yeah, so it's 21 on the other side, the nut, and it is 24 or 15/16 on the nut on this side. So these plugs were hooked up in there, and I pulled them out. Just cut these off because I got new ones and I don't want to deal with it. If I can cut it. I got these axles all out, and I'm gonna sandblast them today. I'll probably paint them tomorrow. The paint I'm using is a Southern Polyurethane epoxy primer, and not supposed to let it get below 65 degrees, and I think tonight it's going to be like 59, but tomorrow night it's going to be above 65, and I think it'll be real close the next day, so I could get 2 coats on there. So start sandblasting these. So this one's not horrible, but it gets pretty rusty inside these brackets. I'm gonna try to get out as much as I can. It is going to be difficult because there's just so much covered by other things. Like when you look in there, you get your shock bracket, and then it comes down inside here, and it's just, I don't know, it's going to be tricky to try to get all the rust out of there. I don't think I'm going to be able to get it all out, especially like on the bottom of this bucket here. But, you know, I'll get out as much as I can. It's just quite the cobble together mess of flat plate here. Alright, so I got these all sandblasted and painted up. Came out alright. I put a pretty heavy coat of the epoxy primer on there. I did 2 coats on both of them. It was pretty time consuming getting inside here. I actually used like a Rust-Oleum spray can to get in there as best I could, and you find you can get the sandblaster in a lot more area than you can get the spray can in. But anyway, it came out all right, I guess. So if I leave this video here because it's getting kind of long, I've been trying to kind of keep it shorter because they tend to get a little bit long. But so this is about where I am at right now. Next step is I gotta change out the bushings and the leaf springs, and waiting for some bolts to come to mount this all back in, and then should be ready to stick it back in the frame and then put the engine in and start working on the cab. So anyway, thanks for watching.